On the pitch, Tranmere haven't had a great deal to celebrate lately. However, off the pitch, there's been a lot to be happy about. The Tranmere Rovers Trust, supporter-led organisation, unveiled a statue dedicated to the legendary manager Johnny King, which was paid for by the supporters of the club. The bronze creation was sculpted by Tom Murphy, who had previously worked on the Bill Shankly and Dixie Dean statues at Liverpool and Everton. 449 Tranmere Rovers supporters paid £60 each, as well as other donations to fund the making of the statue, and a plaque with their names will be added to the statue in the coming weeks. A former player and manager over two periods, Johnny King led Tranmere under their most successful spell in the late 80s and into the mid-90s, and he is widely regarded as one of the biggest icons in the club's history. The Tranmere Rovers Trust put on a 3-day festival called The Trip to the Moon to celebrate the achievements of Johnny King, including an ex-player evening, beer festival, as well as the statue unveiling before the home game against Stevenage at the start of November. In Johnny King's second spell as manager, Rovers came within touching distance of the Premier League 3 times in the Division 1 playoffs. They played high-tempo attacking football with a huge abundance of quality. Players such as John Aldridge and Ian Muir as strikers, Pat Nevin and Johnny Morrissey on the wings, Kenny Hines and Liam O'Brien in central midfield, and Sean Garnett, John McGreal, Ian Nolan and Tony Thomas in defence, as well as Eric Nixon in goal. They all had the ability to tear teams to shreds with Johnny King's attacking tactical approach. When Johnny King returned for his second spell as manager in 1987, Tranmere were a game away from being relegated out of the Football League. Gary Williams' late goal against Exeter kept Rovers safe, and from then on, Rovers' form on the pitch saw a huge upturn, thanks to the financial backing of then chairman Peter Johnson. Several trips to Wembley featured in the early 90s, playoff finals, the Football League Trophy and the Mercantile Credit Festival, as well as strong runs in the League and FA Cup. Despite the failure to reach the Premier League, the period is fondly remembered by Tranmere supporters.
Yeah, looking for a chance to turn, he's made himself a gap. So Gary Williams' appearance in the 6-yard area gives Tranmere the goal that could now keep them alive.
If we had gone down, I'm sure we've got the character to have whipped this club and whipped the enthusiasm, because we have a new board here, and I'm sure they want to go places. I mean, that's why I'm here. I was asked to come back. As I say, it's a new board, new chairman, new directors, and I just hope now that we can make something of this great club.
But 5 minutes later, Tranmere took the lead with a superb goal from the flying Ian Muir. Ian Muir, the club's top scorer, sets up the winning goal. Jim Steele with the header.
A better place in the world to come and play your football, and obviously we're very, very proud to be performing on here today.
It's even better if you win.
Well, obviously, at this stage of the season, it doesn't matter how you play, you've got to win.
What would second division football mean to Tranmere Rovers?
Everything. We've worked so hard for 3 years to come from the 4th, hoping for the 1st, and you know, we were virtually there last season and missed it. It was a big sickener for us. Here we are again, knocking on the door, and I hope it opens today.
At Wembley Stadium, almost 100 games later, those expectations boiled down to the outcome of one match, the playoff final. Both clubs, both managers have sampled Wembley highs and lows in recent years. Tranmere were beaten here just last weekend by Birmingham in the Leyland Daff Cup final. A year ago, they lost the playoff final to Notts. Higgins tidying up this time. Thomas finding Morrissey. Brannan's made a run ahead of him, and Jet Brannan is onside. Great chance here for Jet Brannan. Saved by Felgate. What an opportunity for Malkin. He's done it! It had to be Malkin, didn't it? 8 minutes through the first period of extra time gone, and Chris Malkin gives Tranmere Rovers the lead.
Well, it's not just the ferries which have crossed the Mersey in recent times. Tranmere's success has attracted thousands of Liverpool and Everton fans to a club which almost went out of business just 7 years ago. Manager Johnny King has done a magnificent job here, blending local lads with experienced professionals like John Aldridge, Pat Nevin and Liam O'Brien, all internationals. They've reached the divisional playoffs 3 times in the last 4 seasons with a brand of stylish football. Tonight, though, Tranmere are without 2 key players. Defenders Dave Higgins and Tony Thomas are both suspended. John McGreal and Sean Garnett take their places. Mulkey. Now Neville. Aldridge and Irons ahead of him. And very nearly a great ball, and it drops to Nolan. Yes! Tranmere take the lead. It's dreamland. Brenton Park. Malkin on the near post there. Aldridge with both hands held high, a signal for a pre-arranged move as he spins away. Hughes gets the flick again, comes back to Hughes. It's 2-0. 23 minutes gone. This is Irons. That's a great ball, and Aldridge is onside here. He's done it! That could be the most important goal John Aldridge has ever scored for Tranmere Rovers. It needed a rebound off the post, but who on Merseyside is complaining?
Are we ready to go? Let's unveil it.
After the unveiling, I spoke to Mark from the Tranmere Rovers Trust and other supporters about their memories of Johnny King.
So Mark, so the Trust has made a statue of Johnny King. Why Johnny King?
Well, Johnny King is the most successful manager Tranmere Rovers have ever had. He is a living legend. He is the main man. He is Tranmere Rovers.
So this must be a proud day. How long has the project taken?
I think it's probably taken just over a year. I think it was around about August 2013 we started doing it. Round about then, that was when the idea was first mooted.
Yeah.
Approximately.
Where did the idea kind of come about?
It was just, we wanted a memory of John King. You know, we thought, you know, who in the club deserves something like that, and there is only one man that deserves it, so Johnny King was the man.
So what do you think Johnny King represents to Tranmere Rovers supporters?
Everything. Everything. I mean, when he took over, we were at the bottom of the league, where we are now. Unfortunately, we're right back where we started. But he just took us on that trip, as he called it, the trip to the moon. You know, Wembley was our second home. Touched the Premier League, League One, whatever it was then, the First Division. Yeah, brilliant.
So, your favourite memory of his spell in charge? You have a
favourite memory?
Maybe a quote?
Obviously, everyone talks about the Exeter game. I remember that. The Crewe game, promotion against Crewe. There's so many. Going to Wembley, beating Notts County. I suppose the Bolton game in the playoffs. Which one stands out to me? Probably the Bolton playoff game has got to be the one. That was unbelievable, and it was 2 weeks after I got married as well.
Fantastic. So Nigel, what do you think Johnny King represents to Tranmere Rovers supporters?
I would certainly say he's the most popular manager in their eyes, and I think the thing that makes him so popular is not just the success, but the fact that he's a local bloke, you know. And I know he's originally from Liverpool, but he did live over by Arab Park as well when he was in charge, when he was playing, and I think that connects a lot with the fans, things like that, you know.
What do you think makes Johnny stand out amongst other the Tranmere legends like John Aldridge, Pat Mervyn, Johnny Morrissey, etc.? What makes Johnny that bit different?
I think for the amount of time he was here, because, you know, lest we forget, it was 3 spells, I suppose, as a player, you know. And so I think, you know, he's been a constant in our memory, certainly in my memory. And I think what else stands out about him as a manager is that, you know, we have had other good managers, decent managers, but Johnny King was always, for me, always looking to win a football match, always on the attack. There's a classic example of in the real great years, you know, in the 90s, and you'd be playing clubs like West Ham and clubs in the Premiership now, and if we were defending a corner, for instance, Johnny King, probably from this position here, would instruct 3 of our forwards to go up on the halfway line, and you think who'd do that? It'd be amazing. His tactics were exciting, and I think that's what endeared them to a lot of people. As well,
So your favourite memory of his spell in charge? Do you have a particular favourite kind of moment, a game?
Well, as Mark said, there's so many.
Yeah.
I specifically remember it was 1975-76 season, because my dad used to take me to away games as well when I was a kid. And I must have done something wrong, obviously, But in those years, it was great because we were in charge. We were away at Stockport, and I think it was the last away game, and we needed to win to more or less clinch promotion. And it was just, that was just a great night, and that was the man responsible for it. It's the first time I remember actually coming home in a car, scarves out the window, that kind of thing. But also as well, when I was about 8 or 9, and we were standing up there when it was terracing. And I remember Johnny King then was he was like a trainer. He'd come on, someone injured. Johnny King would run on in a lilac tracksuit, a little kickback, and he was tending to someone at the back of the goal there. And he'd finished, and as his game carried on, and as Johnny King's walking back round behind the goal,
just around the perimeter.
Yeah, I think it might have been my granddad or someone with him. We were getting beat at the time 1-0, but playing okay. And he shouted to Johnny King, said, "What do you think? What do you think, Johnny? What's going to happen?" And he actually specifically said, "If we can score 1, we'll get 3 and win 3-1." What goes and happens? It's exactly what happened. Because I remember that and think, "Oh, the man must be a god."
He is a god.
Brilliant, yeah.
So, Steve, what do you think Johnny King represents to Tranmere Rovers supporters?
Johnny King is our equivalent of, I suppose, the names I won't mention, of the clubs over the water. I think it's important that you have a hero. Somebody that you represent with the greatest times in the club, and I hate using the word philosophy in football, but if anybody does encompass exactly what the philosophy of the club is about, you need maybe one person in particular that you always represent to. And again, I hate using cliches, but he's got the perfect name because to Tranmere fans, that's what he is. He's the fella who represents everything good about the club.
So Tranmere's got many legends, you can list John Aldridge, Pat Nevin, Johnny Morrissey, there's tons. Why does Johnny King stand out amongst the others?
I think today I'm wearing the 91 away shirt, and I think that's kind of, during the second spell, that's kind of the turning point. I think that's the game that the age I am, I remember that Tranmere was somebody then. We were always our local club, but always a small club. But that's the day we kind of introduced ourselves to the world and kind of said, we are here, watch out. And I think after then, during that period, I used to come to this place thinking, what score will we win by? That was the kind of, atmosphere that was about the place. Then we were kind of, we were small fish, but we were living it with the big boys. And they were scared of us. Teams used to come here, and you used to watch them be scared, and that was kind of a fresh thing. And he was in charge of all that, so.
The Delhi submarine, yeah.
The Delhi submarine, exactly, and the trip to the moon. I'm really lucky. I think you're a similar age to me. Is when I left primary school, went to secondary school, and you reach that age where you've got to firmly tie your colours to the mast, and that's it. There's no going back. I picked Tranmere just as the trip to the moon was starting. So I thought, throughout my teens, that the world was perfect because, with football you couldn't lose because here we couldn't really lose. Everything was absolutely magnificent. So that's what Johnny King is. That's what he did.
So Steve, your favourite memory of his spell in charge? Anything kind of stand out to you? It doesn't have to be a specific game. Memory.
The game I think that stands out most here, and those 3 generations. My family just sat out, stood over there watching it. Was the Aston Villa game at home when we won 3-1, but it was 3-0 really because it was never a foul. And that was a kind of a game where it was 17,000 here, but it sounded like 70,000. And Aldridge scored the third, and there's a flare on the pitch. The place is covered in smoke. I was in a family enclosure. There was a crush. It's absolutely bonkers what happened here. Then that night is, if I can't sleep at night, it's a place that I go to and have a little daydream about that, and then fall asleep and have 8 hours peaceful sleep. Because that's a beautiful memory for me. And there's loads of them. You could talk all day about different games, but that's one really that does stick out. As being just a huge occasion, and whether we'll get that again I don't know, but we live in hope because that's the time I always look back to as being the greatest time.
So Paul, what do you think Johnny King represents to Tranmere Rovers supporters?
Johnny King is undoubtedly a legend with this club. He took this club to a different level. It was a great time to be a Tranmere Rovers supporter. and he had a connection with the supporters, and it was just a wonderful time. And he just basically took this club on a roller coaster ride, and it was great. And it was just such a great time to be a Tranmere Rovers fan.
The trip to the moon, yeah.
Trip to the moon.
What do you think makes Johnny stand out amongst other Tranmere Rovers legends?
Well, for me, my dad first brought me here in the 60s to watch Tranmere, and Johnny was a player, and he was a great player. He was a midfield player and a no-nonsense player. He was a typical Tranmere Rovers player. So I watched him play, and then later on watched him become the manager. So there was a big connection, and as I say, he's just Tranmere through and through, so people connect with him, and he is a nice guy,
so
and he stands out.
You saw that kind of evolution from player to
Absolutely,
manager to cult hero, essentially.
A legend, definitely, yeah.
And your favourite memory of his spell in charge? It doesn't have to be a specific game, it can just be a flashing
Well, it's
memory.
going to be a similar, well, it is a similar memory. Well, it is the memory. I've got so many happy memories coming here with my dad and my two sons. But that night, Aston Villa in the cup, just being in the family paddock there with my old dad, God bless him, and my two sons, just an amazing night. And when that third goal went in, when Aldridge hit that third goal, it was just like time stood still. It was just an amazing moment, and I'll never forget that. That epitomises it for me.
Dave, what does Johnny King represent to Tranmere Rovers supporters?
And quite simple, he's the best manager we ever had. He was a fantastic player for us in the 1960s. He did 2 spells as a manager for us. The first 5 years was the first promotion I saw, 1976. He had a fantastic side. He always had the ability to put together the best blend of players, which was proper dogged defending, hard men in midfield, fluid attackers, great finishers. And in the 70s he had Ronnie Moore up front, and was blessed later on to have Ian Muir and John Aldridge, later on doing the same job, and fantastic man.
And your favourite memory of his spell in charge? Any particular quotes, games?
Yeah, I could think probably the best game that I witnessed here was in 1989. We were stumbling a little bit. We were up at the top for promotion, and we were playing Grimsby at home. And the one thing that Johnny King's sides had was the ability to bounce back. And we went 2-0 down quite early in the game. And when Mark McCarrick popped up in the last minute with a header, with a dislocated shoulder, it just showed what guts that the team had then. And it was indicative of what Johnny King was like, about getting the best out of his players. And that's the one that sticks out. The following week we gained promotion here at home in front of a full house. Fantastic. And that started it basically.
The club's got many legends. What makes Johnny go that extra yard? Why is he the man of Tranmere?
Well, for me, without naming names, you could have legendary players, but when you meet them, they're not quite as legendary in real life as they are, when you're watching them on the pitch. But for me, he was fantastic, grounded, down to earth, a lovely man, a gentleman, but inspirational in the way he set his teams out and how he came across in public and in the media. It was fantastic.
Des, your favourite memory of Johnny's spell in charge?
Well, there's no one favourite memory for me, because the whole period, especially the second period obviously, because I only started coming here briefly in the late 70s when he was first in charge. Obviously he got moved on, but latterly his second period in charge was fantastic, absolutely. The whole feeling around the club, the way, again, repeat myself, the way he set his teams up, the way they went at the opposition, was just unbelievable. Absolutely a lovely man, and seeing him here today with the statue brought a tear to my eye.
Later that day, Tranmere took on Stevenage at home, and in the Johnny King stand, the Trust had organised a mural for supporters to hold up before the kick-off. A last gasp 96-minute equaliser from Rovers ensured the day ended on a positive note. Ironically, Tranmere currently find themselves in a similar position to when Johnny King rejoined in his second spell as manager. But with the wealth of experience new owners Mark and Nicola Palios have commercially, combined with new manager Mickey Adams' achievements and experience, there are plenty of reasons for Tranmere fans to be optimistic for the timing of Phase 2 of Johnny King's trip to the moon.